I know that the audience won't see the visual, but I need to see the visual because this is the notebook. So
oh my gosh.
much like you have the wolf journal, I have the sun and moon journal. This is the thing, this area right here, as you may be aware at this point in all of your episodes, is what doomed me to be an actual poet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You had a moon. It's the moon.
It's the frickin' moon.
Rhyme or free, it doesn't matter to me. It's my bad poetry. Good day, and welcome to My Bad Poetry, a podcast where we take a deep dive into our poems from youth, yesteryear, or even yesterday, always asking the question, why in the world did I write this? I'm Aaron.
And I'm Dave.
And today we have with us the Gorgan writer herself, our second return guest, who was our second guest overall, but never second best. Raegen Pietrucha, welcome back to My Bad Poetry.
Thank you.
Oh man, it's been over a year since you graced us with your presence. Is there any new things you want to share with our dear listeners?
I guess, in a weird way, the thing that I'm most excited about writing-wise is finishing the draft of my memoir, which has nothing to do with poetry. Although I managed, as poets do, to sneak in a poem my pages because
good work.
I had to do that.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. It's like prose. Oh,
what's this?
Why not talk about
I'll just flip through that page. It's an epic. It's like 450 plus pages, like over 200,000 words. It needs significant. I mean, this is the first draft. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just like, think of it as like all the poems I've ever written, but lines. And now I have to actually make sense out of it all. So I'm not thinking about that right now, though.
Sure.
Yeah. Good luck. That seems daunting.
It's a big project.
Yeah, it was funny because it's like, you're just going along and I'm like, okay, well, this part needs to be told. Well, this is part of the story. This is an important part of the story too. And then the next thing I know, I have like an entire ream of paper. Like, this can't be right. But here we are.
Awesome.
Autobiographies are one thing, but to bring us into the realm of poetry, Dave, what do you have for us today?
You're the worst, Aaron. So I've written a poem. It is called Pride and Joy. The growing glow of a growling fire. 2 kids and a book resting on my lap. Gentle guitar drifts from the speaker. The fluff of fleece fills my heart. Peace permeates moments of rest. My daughter burps directly into my face.
The true art is always the actual action from real life.
Yeah.
The emanation, the human emanations.
Yeah. Oh, just a beautiful moment of life. And also, I will say my favorite part of it was the pride on her face.
Aww.
She's 2 years old, so she just looked up at me like, ha ha, gotcha.
Amazing.
That's great. I love all the alliteration that you peppered in there.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
A lot of G sounds, a lot of guttural, gurgly sounds like the burp, capturing
exactly
the of the burp.
See, I did a thing. It was a thing.
Did you do that on purpose, Dave? You seem really excited. Nice, good. I love how proud you are.
I thought it was just going to be stupid. Well, it was stupid, but...
No, that was fun. That's good stuff. Good catch, Raegen. Well, Raegen, we've brought you back on the show, and you shared with us in a Google Doc last time many lovely hot garbage poems. There was one that followed over that you didn't get to last time, and now you've given us 2 new ones. And I'm greedy because I want to get to all 3. Do you think we could do it?
I mean, I guess if that's how you want to roll. The lucky thing is that I wasn't too wordy back in my teenage high school days. So those two poems are actually fairly short. I mean, they're not haiku or anything, but
No.
they're manageable. So
Yeah.
I'll probably do it.
Okay. Well, let's just in case we run way too long. I would love to get to these high school poems that you've given us.
We'll start with those.
Yeah. So
Okay.
which one are you going to start with here?
Let's start with, so I had mentioned in our email exchange that these are untitled because apparently I didn't think that was necessary back then. I just needed to express in poetry my field. And so these are both untitled, but actually in retrospect, this first one, which is, an untitled poem from the perspective of an old high school friend, is probably my first persona poem, which it only clicked in my head today as I was thinking about recording for this. And I was like, oh my God, like that's wild, because then I did a whole book, Head of a Gorgan, persona, various personas. And like, I didn't generally do that. And so I was like, oh, well, look at this. I guess this might have been the first one that I did do. So, okay. So here we go.
Just back to your roots. Yeah.
Back to the roots, and also could be a really bad pop song. All the looks you exchanged with me, always thought we were meant to be. No one can love you like I do, but you always knew. All the cruel words you used to say, I let it slide, I pushed them away. I forgave you every time, too, but you always knew. Spaghetti sauce all over the floor, you stared at me, nevermore. I thought for sure you felt it too, but you always knew. Can't believe no one ever cared about the words that needed to be shared. Up until now, I was without a clue that you always knew.
Oh, this is incredible. I love that it rhymes. I love that it rhymes. It's just
so painful. It's so painfully pop like that it rhymes.
Yeah. It reminded me of like a Blink-182 song or something.
Mm-hmm. No, I was waiting for the turn, like for what's it called? 10 Things I Hate About You, but I don't hate you, not at all.
Not once. Or not, not even a little, not even at all.
Yeah.
You Julia Stiles. It was so Julia.
Yeah. It is extremely, like, I want to use the word lyrical, but it's not lyrical. Like, it is very, like, nursery rhymey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's lyrical in the non-poetic lyrical sense. Lyrical in the really bad song sense.
Yeah. Yep. What's the spaghetti sauce?
So that's the thing that actually happened to the friend. And so that's like literally the only non-generic thing in the whole poem.
Yeah.
Between these two people, I shall not name names, but they were hanging out and the pasta jar fell on the floor and shattered and splattered. And yeah, so I mean, again, none of this actually in the world of the poem. You're not using it there. But yeah, that was part of the real story of the person whose persona I then adopt in this home.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You had a friend or a person you knew in high school who tells you a story.
Right.
About a relationship issue they're going through. It has a very specific part about it with spaghetti sauce and things ajar and you're like, I need to write a poem about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, okay, like, so this person was not just like some rando. I mean, this person was somebody that that I was friends with.
Yeah.
Like pretty good friends with in high school. So it was like, and the other person involved was, so basically like my high school crush was this one person, and then that person's high school crush was that other person, and like pretty much all we did was talk about our crushes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I mean, as high schoolers tend to do,
Yep.
or did.
Right.
When I was in high school, I don't really know what the hip kids are talking about these days, but yeah. So it was like there were several sort of like incidents, none other than the single time involving the spaghetti sauce. But it was, always, because everything in high school is always just this drama, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He looked at me in biology. Noted. Tell my best friend. Write one of those folded notes, like
stuff it in the locker.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Friend opens it up. Oh my god! You look better. So it was like a culmination of like all of the emotions of that relationship that, of course, was not actually a relationship. It was just a crush. And in fact, it's funny because I was talking to my fiance about this and going back and looking through this old high school stuff. I was like, yeah, you know what I find really interesting? Like the dude that I had a crush on in high school, and then this situation, that crush was aware. But like, I find out about the one person who had a crush on me in high school, like the last day of high school, because he wrote a note in my yearbook. Like, what's up with that? Like, he ratted me out. I was like, oh, too late, whatever, bye-bye. Like, it's like, well, that seems unjust.
Right?
Like, and also, like, who was I friends with that they were like telling my crush about my like secrets? But that's in high school, so whatever, I guess.
Did you share this with your friend?
Oh,
good.
Yeah. The friend, yeah. And the friend was like, yeah. Yeah.
I am the jar of spaghetti sauce.
Yes. The spaghetti sauce. I will not forget. Yes.
He always knew. Oh, that's amazing.
I just love how it's so life or death, but also so generic. Like, this could be about a guy, this could be about a tree that you enjoy sitting under. Like, it's just, whatever.
Yeah, it really does feel like one of those like Blink 182. I just the generic emo pop song that every high schooler is like, oh, they get me.
And that's what's like so ridiculous about those songs, right? It's like, because you're like, wow, like I have gone through that. And then you look at the actual lyrics without the music or the sound, and you're like, that just doesn't really say anything about anything.
Yep.
How did I relate to that? But I just spent, how much do CDs cost these days, or whatever, Spotify, I guess. Nobody pays for CDs anymore anyway. Back in the day, when we bought CDs, it would have been about $20.
Yeah, $20.
And that, just to open that CD, the pamphlet inside and look, and like, I gotta look at these lyrics that I feel so deeply in my soul. Jeez. What did happen here?
I think we need another reading of this poem, but just like in that, all the looks you exchange with me.
That guy's accent. Because that Blink-182 guy, he has like that weird accent when he sings.
Very distinct. Like,
I can do Rob Thomas.
Yeah.
Pretty good, but not the Blink-182 guy.
Hello there. Yeah, I can't. That sounded more like SpongeBob. I'm sorry.
My nightmare. Yeah, it's nasally, but like
Not quite.
yeah,
It has like a rasp
it's
to it.
puffy.
Yeah.
Puffy.
Well, I think we've said about all we can with this. Oh, I don't know, Dave. You just. Are you?
Oh no, I'm just really excited because again, a tear trickles down my face.
Yeah. Let's go to that one, Raegen.
So this again, Untitled, probably my first untitled truly goth poem. I have gone down the dark path in my poetry for the most part, but this kind of was the beginning, and also just very, very relatable, I'm sure, because we've all cried those salty tears, haven't we? All right, here we go. A tear trickles down my face as the salt fills my lungs with relief from my pain, and it touches my lip as it cools my anger, and I taste the pain once again. It is the taste of the seas of time and pain of everyone before. And my hand travels across my face to wipe away my drops of suffering. And as I look it in the face, I realize the deception it holds, for there should be no beauty of pain, of suffering.
Don't look it directly in the eyes. You have to use your shield to look at it.
Yeah, we need a reflection.
The Medusa of poems.
Yeah.
Wow. This may be the closest a guest has come to something straight out of the Wolf Journal. And I don't I don't
Like,
Aaron, you can't be that mean to a guest.
Okay, I am happy to mind meld with some hot high school garbage.
Yes.
Happy to.
Whoa, this is something. I was wondering if you were doing, because you have the line of all these caps, and I was looking for like if it was an acrostic. It clearly is not an acrostic.
There's no sense here.
No.
No.
It just looks so purposeful with these big capital letters just running down the page. Oh man.
That's what it spelled.
That speaks to me.
Yeah, it's the sound of a soul crying.
That's what it is.
Oh.
Maybe it's your soul's crying.
Yeah, I have to read it. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to portray your own pain, to make your readers experience secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, I mean, that's, as poets, we do strive to make the audience feel something. So, I mean, you felt something. It was probably your gag reflex.
Yeah.
Okay. So, salt in the lungs? What is it like Epsom salts? What are you trying to evoke there? It's the relief of your pain?
So, I mean, I guess the image, but it's not really an image because it's a smell, but it's also not like you don't really smell your tears. And so I can't say for sure what, teenage me was really thinking there, except I was trying to like make something of it as teenagers do with their emotions.
Yeah.
Right? Like that pain of everyone before, because of course, my pain is, singular and great and encapsulates all the pain suffered by humanity, the full extent of humanity up until this very moment. Because that's how you think when you're in high school, right?
Yeah.
Yup.
100%.
How it is.
Yeah.
I keep going back to, and it touches my lips and it cools my anger. because I learned from a beautiful poem from years ago that it's all right to cry. Crying gets the sad out of you. It's all right to cry. It might make you feel better.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is also the reflection of my thoughts in this poem, but there's like a lot happening here because it's cooling my anger, but then I'm also like still thinking about all that pain of everyone before, but then I'm also thinking, screw these tears, they shouldn't be like cool or pretty.
Right. Yeah.
So, like there's like I'm having, not only am I having emotions about whatever the hell I was having emotions about at that point in time that I was crying to begin with, but then now I'm having emotions about the actual tears. So it's like emotions upon emotions. It's a very complicated teenage moment. And that much is captured in this poem, okay?
Mm-hmm. Just the layers upon layers here that we are peeling back. Yeah, that last part at the end where it's like you wipe the tear away and then you're I'm assuming you're like looking at the tear and you're like, it shouldn't be this beautiful. It's like
I could lie and say that was not at all within the realm of possibility for me. But I would be lying.
That is the joy of reading high school poetry, because it is just, again, it's hilarious how universal this feels, where like so many, I mean, I also don't know a ton of teenagers right now for some odd reason, but like I have had conversations with, kids who are still trying to figure themselves out, and they still talk in the exact same way about these things. And it's like, I just want to tell you how stupid you sound right now, and that's not going to help.
Yeah, it's not the empathetic approach at the moment.
No. Like, I feel like I can say it because I have been in that same position where it's like, oh yeah, I've said those same things, and I now know how stupid I am.
Oh yeah, no, but that's the thing. When you're in that, like you're in the melodrama of teenage, like angst and all of that stuff. Like everything just feels so feely and intense, and like. And of course, you're the only person who could possibly be experiencing any of these emotions. And certainly the only person who's experiencing them at that intensity. Because that's what you really believe that. You really feel that to be true.
That doesn't feel authentic, though, because I went, like, my emotions were the biggest, and
you're
right. Yes, I would second to Dave's emotions.
Yeah.
At the time, I wasn't aware.
Of course.
Maybe it was because I was born before Dave, but
that could affect things. I'm not a physicist, but.
But I mean, you did taste the seas of time, so there's some timey-wimey things going on here.
I could have pulled a Michael J. Fox, back in the deal. Just said, you know what? I'm coming before Dave, so I'm going to try to pretend like my pain is bigger than his, and I can be wrong later, but that's fine for now. For now, it's everyone before.
Fine, you were temporally correct until the great master of depression and angst came along. So, oh gosh,
I love that. Towards the end, I thought as you were reading it, I was like, "Oh, you worked in a rhyme." And then I realized, no, you just ended 2 lines with face.
Yeah. No, there's no rhyme. There's so I like, this is like the spectrum, right? I went from full rhyme pop song to like no rhyme. There's no sense. There's no structure to this at all. Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Shows versatility.
It does. Yeah. You had range.
Range. sucky on this side, and then also sucky on the other side.
But a different kind of sucky. Yeah.
Sucky and blows? I mean, that's an opposite.
It's possible.
So these are two lovely selections. A 4-line stanza rhyming piece, a free verse, no rhyme, just no stanzas.
Word vomit.
Word vomit.
Yeah.
Tear vomit.
Tear vomit. Yes.
I kind of love that as an image. I think that's kind of good. I'll use that in my next poem.
It's now the title of this poem. I didn't bother the first time, so.
That'll do. Yeah, I think that's good.
I love how you felt like you just had to get the words on the page. Don't bother with titles. It's very much, again, that kind of high school, you can't box me in. It's like, this doesn't need a title. It speaks for itself.
It doesn't need a title, nor does it need quality. You can't box me in. I'm not going to let the man hold me down.
I know what's good. Was this one shared with your friend?
This one was just for me.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Until tonight.
Well, and we are
You're
honored.
welcome, and I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, like I said, I desperately want to get to all three of these. Can we do Desperation?
Yeah, let me pull that up. That one's on the screen. So
yes.
Let me click over to that. Okay. Speaking of high school crushes, yeah, this was about mine. Desperation. I really wish I could tell you how I feel, and I want to tell you, you shouldn't believe what you hear, because my feelings for you weren't what you think. They were dreams I put into what I thought you were, but you weren't. And I want you to understand, but I don't think you can. But I'd like to try to make you anyway, so I could at least feel comfortable saying hi to you when we pass without knowing what's in your head and what you're thinking about me when I do so. But I know I can't, and I know because you probably don't understand, you'll keep thinking what you do about me, even though it's not true anyway. So it's pointless as it was when they told you. So circling back to that whole, like, my crush got told about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But actually then at a certain point, I had like other boyfriends, and so that was done. But, you know, it was still awkward between me and this other guy who nothing ever happened with. He was just my crush, because he actually later, like years later at a party, was like, I thought you'd always be mine. And I'm like, dude, I was there with my boyfriend at the time. I'm like, dude, nothing ever even happened. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he had thoughts in his head. What?
This continues to show your incredible range as a garbage poet. Because you've given us beautifully structured stanzas and a free verse. This one feels very kind of beatnik stream of conscious. Like, there's no punctuations here. You're just free flowing, whatever comes to your mind, and that is apparent.
That is really all I can say about this poem, but I think that it leads to something so that you can understand, like, just the vast over array of, like, the ideas behind something, so you, like, continue on, but that doesn't get to the heart of the thing that it is about, so...
That's your version of the poem that I just read.
Boom. I am a teenage girl.
You are.
You're just a teenager in general, Dave.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'll take it as offensively as I can.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere between suck and blow, whatever that.
you know, that beautiful spectrum of awful. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So, did you write this in high school as well?
This one came like early college.
Okay.
So again, this was sort of like reflecting, because that party was while I was in college. And so it was like, what? Like, dude, like it's like we're not even in high school anymore. Like, what? Like, anyway. So then I reflected. And then I word vomited.
That does go to show, though, like, you know the phrase "men are trash"? That's just really comes through in this, like the idea of, yeah, you understood the stupidity of some of this, but the guy, I'm assuming, probably understood it right around like age 30 or so.
Yeah.
You know what? I will tell you something. That same guy, around that time, found me on Facebook.
Men are trash.
On Facebook. I'm like, it started trying to talk to me about books. Like, we did not talk about books in high school, bro. Like, we did not book people together. Like, that was not a thing ever. And then he fell off of Facebook. So he's no longer on Facebook anymore. And in retrospect, I'm like, I feel like something, like he was trying to do something there.
Yep. No, that's a toxic nice guy trait.
And I was not, thankfully, like going with that or picking up on it even at that point, because I was like, God, there's no way that could possibly. And then, maybe it was because now he's not on Facebook, and that's weird.
Oh boy, man.
So I really picked a winner in my high school.
You did.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
We all usually do.
Oh, yeah.
I should have written the poem back then about that.
But I love how the format of this one, like the last one, you started out with somewhat longer lines and you trickled down to "of pain, of suffering." And this one, you start with very short lines, and then the word vomit happens at the end as it just overflows with these lines that just are rambling nonsense.
It's all rambling nonsense. It's just it started with shorter lines and then it ended with longer lines of rambling nonsense.
I think it just feels more digestible when you're taking it like 3 or 4 words at a time. You're like, okay, I'm following. I'm losing you. Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
I'm swimming through the vomit. I cannot find my way out.
Yes, exactly. Oh,
that was totally my fault.
Interesting choice to make. Okay. I'm hearing, I believe, Alanis Morissette.
Huge.
I want you to know.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah. Huge in my high school years. Yes.
Me too.
She's timeless. I mean, honestly. I mean, with the musical that came out not too long ago, her music's coming back on the radio. Yeah. Come on, Dave. Jagged Little Pill?
I remember hearing that there was a musical.
It's Alanis Morissette music.
Yeah.
From context, I wasn't sure if you picked that up.
Yeah. To be fair, I am an idiot, so thank you for stringing me there.
You ought to know.
Me?
Thank you, Aaron.
Do you think you were trying to do an Alanis Morissette type feeling to this? Because it does have like the "I want you to understand"
I mean, I don't think it was conscious. I mean,
Sure.
but, you know, I definitely was listening to that music at that time, you know, so
Right.
for sure an influence and, you know,
Yeah.
some way.
Now, you said you wrote Desperation early college?
Yeah, that would have been like
Okay.
freshman or sophomore year, probably.
Remind us, because it's been a while, but did you go for writing in college?
Yeah, so I didn't declare my major officially until I absolutely had to, which was at the end of sophomore year. But yeah,
Sure.
I mean, I was like, I'm gonna start taking, you know, like I had to do, you know, the obligatory thing that everybody has to do, like some kind of 101. But for me, it was an honors class because I had taken AP English or whatever. So I did that. But then once I got that prereq out of the way, then I could get into the workshops and stuff like that. And so I was doing that right away. And my stepfather at the time, no longer my stepfather, but you know, he was trying to get me to go like more of like a business writing, like journalism or you know, something like that, kind of route. And I was like, even though I technically do sort of work in journalism. So
Sure.
I ended up there anyway, but you don't need to get that specific degree to end up there, I guess. But and it's fine. Like I like what I do as my day job, but I really wanted to do creative writing. And so like I said, I held off on officially declaring, but I got in as soon as I could to start just doing the workshops and start kind of seeing and exploring. And actually, the focus was fiction in undergrad and poetry in grad school. But it's funny because the transition for me almost started like in undergrad anyway. So I had started off in fiction, and fiction was technically the focus, like in my degree, like path or whatever, like the classes that I took. But I also took a number of poetry workshops. And then by the end, like by the time I graduated from college, I was more into poetry because I wanted to, for me, I was, my fiction was always not fiction. Like it was like changing names and telling stories or like basing like weird stories, like weird happenings on people I already knew. Like I never was really interested in true fiction. I wanted to tell stories about, like I wanted either the characters to be people I knew or the actual stories, like the spaghetti sauce story, to be people I knew.
Yeah.
And I sort of figured that out along that 4-year journey of undergrad doing these different workshops. And so then I was like, well, I can kind of tell like truth, I guess, as I saw it in poetry, but also I can do like a lot of different things, like have no form or write a pop song type poem. I could write total garbage, and you know, maybe some people would actually enjoy it. And here we are.
Plus, you had a whole back catalog you were just sitting on.
Yeah, I did.
With that Sunshine Moon journal. You were like,
Moon journal.
I got this.
I mean, and this thing, like the audience can't see, but I mean, it is full. There are words on these pages.
Oof.
Yes.
It is
Lots.
full. It is full of angst, teenage emotion.
You might give Lanny her run for her money for being the three-peat, because she has what was it, 5 journals from high school that she showed us. So she's got some material as well.
So I guess this is my question. Why do you creative types keep stuff like this? Because as someone who definitely attempted to write things and noticed how bad they were, and then I realized we have a fire pit in my backyard, and this is made out of something flammable. I don't even want to remember this. God forbid someone else see it. I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and it's a super valid question and an excellent point. And for me, it's actually really interesting because in preparing for this potential move, which we Aaron and I were discussing before we hopped on, Dave, I've been going through a bunch of old stuff, right? I mean,
Mm.
stuff from, like, I have art that I made, like, that my mom had saved, like, when I was in, like, preschool, kindergarten. Like,
Right.
I have stuff from, like, my birth, like, photos of me at age 0 to, like, journals through high school and college and all of the stuff. And for me, number one, I don't have kids. I don't want to have kids. This is like literally the only legacy. And not to say that anybody will ever enjoy it, but it exists. This is proof of existence. Like, this wacky person who wrote this terrible crap in high school, she lived. She was once on this earth. And then the other part of it is I'm able to sort of reflect on who I've been, the person that I was and the person that I've become. And it's like I can laugh at her, but I can also embrace her and have empathy for her in a way that I could not when I was her, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So to me, there's sort of a connection to the self. And that for me that's why creative writing really resonates for me as a writer. Like, that's a big part of why I write, is to explore the internalities of myself and then sort of see how that kind of fits or bounces off the larger sort of, I guess, systems at play, right?
Yeah.
But it's to examine those interiorities. And if I don't, I guess, have or keep that record, I don't have space in my brain to remember it all. So I have these journals and these notebooks. And I mean, honestly, like I said, what I sent you was the legible stuff. Yeah, it's all of that recollection. It's all of that exploration. And I don't have space in my brain for all of the emo stuff. I'm actually quite happy now. So it's nice to be able to get it out, like to know that it's free. It's been set free, but there's a record that it existed. The pain lives elsewhere now, forever immortalized in paper until somebody throws it into their fire pit, Dave.
You're welcome. So it's more about, like, you currently lack self-loathing and, like, just internal hate. That sounds nice.
Yeah,
that sounds real good. Yeah.
And it took me, 30 plus years of my life to finally realize that was like the overarching problem. But I got there, and then I did something about it. And so the last almost 15 years of my life have been pretty stellar.
That's awesome.
Can I just say, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Well, we should end on such a happy note.
Yeah.
After such awful poems. But Raegen, as always, you are just a shining light, and you were one of our first like major rah-rah kind of cheerleaders outside of like family. So we love you.
I love you.
And so we do want to give you the opportunity to end, as we do every time here at My Bite Poetry, with the words of a true poet. So you've given us 2 here, and I'm fine with either one. Where is your heart taking you this time? Well,
the one is happy. The
Let's
other
do
one
that.
is not. So,
yeah. Let's end happy.
If we want to talk about, like, now, granted, I will say that this is like pretty much my only happy poem, because now that I'm happy, I feel like I don't need to write about it. I just want to live it and experience it, having not for like 30 years. Yeah, but this is actually for and about my fiance, and actually there's a line about 12 years in, but it'll be it'll be 14 in August. So, rest your mind, if you will, towards Magritte's "This Is Not a Pipe" image, if you've seen it. If not, look it up, and you will have the start of this poem. This is not a love poem, the same way the curvaceous tan can leg narrowing to a stiletto-ish tip in Magritte's painting is not a pipe. especially when you look at it sideways, but mostly because despite its trick of highlights, it lacks a dimension that can be grasped. And what could ever be real without, at the very least, the potential for embrace? Truth be told, even 12 years in, I bet you'd readily recall our first. Meanwhile, my brain would have to ramble through its usual associative maze. For example, buy that specific kind of Vlasic, not only for the pickle, but also the brine. See also ancient cheerleading routines, punishing kick line, recollections of cramps appearing out of nowhere that must, drop everything, be attended to. It's summer again, and it's Vegas. Still, I see you sweeping desiccated leaves off our pots, the driveway, the street. What man does this but him, I think? And is that some type of love? Magritte had something to say about the treachery of images, but then he painted that brown deal and told us only what it wasn't. Like that time on the strip when David Copperfield summoned you up to him on the darkened stage, and between a car floating, whoosh, dropping, and that steaming mechanical avalanche, he spewed some mumbo jumbo that made you disappear. But I knew you still had to exist somewhere within that palette of metallic haze and black. Even now, watching you through our window, I know the meaning of heat that warps the asphalt to mirage, certain the sweat's collecting on the freckled slope of your nose, the last stop on your body before warning turns emergency. When you come back inside, your legs will need chartreuse juice, and I will have a glass filled for you. Later, after the pain evaporates, I'll plop on the couch next to you, drape my thighs across yours, careful not to snag fabric with my heels. I'll wiggle my black patent feet, say, "Do you remember when we first started dating?" A corner of your lips will curve into not a pipe before the other side follows. And this is an answer of at least 1,000 sounds, but in a language my brain's too gherkin to contain. I suppose there's plenty to say about the treachery of words. For example, here, where I tried to make them tell it straight, this story about you. See also, you, still at best a silhouette waiting for some secret cue, a magician dissipating smoke.
So, I don't know how to say this, but this is much better than the poems you read. Like, infinitely better.
Yeah. Sure, because I'm still thinking that maybe the tears one might be a little bit better.
Let's not revisit it.
How dare you?
How dare you, Sarah?
This is lovely.
Yeah.
This has been My Bad Poetry.
Now go
write
some of your own bad
poetry. But like, let it continue on, and just like, don't end with any punctuation. Like, just keep going, because. Right.